Viewers, the war between Israel and Hamas may appear as though it is far removed from our reality. After all, the settling of scores is taking place virtually on another continent, on a sliver of scraggy land on the edge of the eastern Mediterranean Sea. We might have perhaps continued to live under this delusion that this is someone else's war, had the Americans not drawn our collective attention to the link between India and the Israel-Hamas war that has been, it now turns out, hiding in plain sight. Indeed, Antony Blinken, America's Secretary of State, the US equivalent of our Minister of External Affairs, has given a lot to think about by visibly linking the Hamas to the Lashkar-e-Taiba that carried out the 26/11 attacks on Mumbai in 2008, viewers. There's Blinken speaking at the United Nations General Assembly. Blinken said all acts of terrorism are unlawful and unjustifiable, whether they are people in Nairobi, Bali, Istanbul, or Mumbai, in New York, or Kibbutz Be'eri. Blinken's analogy will, of course, not appeal to many on the ideological left. But let's first listen to what he actually said. Let's get a sense of what he was trying to suggest.
As this Council and the UN General Assembly have repeatedly affirmed, all acts of terrorism are unlawful and unjustifiable. They're unlawful and unjustifiable whether they target people in Nairobi or Bali, in Luxor, Istanbul or Mumbai, in New York or Kibbutz Be'eri. They're unlawful and unjustifiable whether they're carried out by ISIS, by Boko Haram, by al-Shabaab, by Lashkar-e-Taiba, or by Hamas. They're unlawful and unjustifiable whether victims are targeted for their faith, their ethnicity, their nationality, or any other reason. And this Council has a responsibility to denounce member states that arm, that fund, and train Hamas, or any other terrorist group that carries out such horrific acts.
Now, as I said, these views will not appeal to many on the ideological left in India or abroad. This is because for narrow political gains, they have chosen to ignore the facts and paint Israel as the villain. For this group, Hamas fighters are the flag bearers of a resistance movement launched to reclaim their holy land from the clutches of an alleged occupier. There are several examples of this mischievous attempt, viewers, at drawing a false equivalence between Israel and Hamas. Turkey's President Erdogan has publicly cast Hamas as a principal set of warriors. These are not my words, these are his words. He calls them warriors. And I'm going to show you some of those examples. They'll come up on your screen any moment now. Many here in India share the same view. Let's go over some of these various quotes that have actually sparked a massive debate across the length and breadth of India, as well as, of course, are sparking a debate internationally. A.M. Shamsher, the Kerala Speaker, no less than the Speaker of the House, he came out and says Hamas attacks against Israel do not amount to terrorism. Hamas actions should be described as resistance. Israel should not be retaliating on a tooth-for-tooth stand. Israel should seek to peacefully evolve sustainable solutions. And he went on to also lecture the Indian government, saying India has always taken sides with Palestine. However, Modi has openly backed Israel. Now, viewers, a lot of people will wonder at the statement here, wondering in specific whether he's rationalizing an act of terror, butchery in cold blood. And if that's not terror, viewers, what is? Anyhow, we'll be throwing that open for debate in a short while. Maulana Taqi Raza, he is, of course, a Muslim leader from Uttar Pradesh who's shared a stage with Priyanka Gandhi because he fought the last assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and was supported by the Congress. He says Hamas is not a terror organization. Hamas and Palestine have been oppressed by Israel. PM Modi has betrayed India by backing a terror state like Israel. Mehbooba Mufti of Kashmir, the PDP chief, she says deafening silence of murder of Palestinians. World is outraged because shoe is on the other foot. selective outrage is criminal, to say the least. Viewers, the shoe is on the other foot, as if Israel deserved to see its citizens being butchered. Recep Erdogan, Turkey's president. Hamas is not a terror organization. Hamas is trying to save its people and homeland. Hamas is a group of liberationists. Israel is acting like a terror organization. Israel not defending itself but committing crimes against humanity. Now viewers, you can criticize Israel for what you may perceive to be an overreaction. A relentless bombing campaign into the ground of Gaza. You could say perhaps that they are exceeding the provocation. But the point is, viewers, you can't blank out, whitewash Hamas's past, because that would be then justifying what it has done in the name of fighting a war for freedom. Now that doesn't even stand up to scrutiny, viewers. But the ecosystem's whataboutery aside, Blinken's analogy is significant on 3 counts. First, it casts India very firmly as a subcontinental Israel, one under siege from Islamists that want to destroy Bharat's secular foundations in the pursuit of a revanchist desire to re-establish Islamic rule across South Asia, viewers. Many people say that this is exactly why the Lashkar-e-Taiba that fights under the banner of Islam has stepped into a war against India. A war that it colorfully says is going to bleed India through 1,000 cuts. The other significant fact in Blinken's statements is the use of the phrase unlawful and unjustifiable. And these words are aimed at delegitimizing the often used root cause argument to rationalize everyday acts of terror against the Indian state and Indians. For far too long, these brazen acts of terror have been insidiously passed off as acts of resistance against Indian occupation of Kashmir, for example, viewers, which Pakistan and others claim is the unresolved root cause, if you like, of the terror against India. Third, and perhaps most importantly, Blinken brackets Hindus with Jews, suggesting that they are the victims of xenophobia that originates from one common fount, the pulpit of a bigoted outlook. A glance at the manifestos of Hamas and Lashkar-e-Taiba easily settles the debate, viewers, in favor of those like Blinken who think that Indians and Israelis are the unprovoked victims of a fundamentally deep-seated Islamist chauvinism, a refusal to accept the rights of either Jewish or Hindu belief system to exist as an alternative idea. Viewers, here are some hard facts. Why there are striking similarities between the Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hamas, their outlook, their mission. First of all, the LET, the Lashkar-e-Taiba, has been designated a terror organization across the globe. The Hamas has not been designated a terror organization by the United Nations, but by a large number of Western democracies, including the state, of course, of Israel, viewers. Let's look at the other fact, which strikes immediately in the face. And that is that the Lashkar-e-Taiba advocates holy war or jihad against India. Ghazwa-e-Hind is what it refers to very often in its publicity campaigns and propaganda statements. Hamas also advocates holy war or jihad in its charter against Israel. It doesn't even recognize the right of the state of Israel to exist, viewers. Lashkar-e-Taiba challenges India's rights over Jammu and Kashmir. It says Jammu and Kashmir is an Islamic land. On the other hand, Hamas says, and it cites anti-Semitism as an Islamic duty. Again, viewers, we brought out the charter for you on several occasions, and even when it modified the charter, it continued to question the right of Israel to exist, the right of a Jewish state to exist. Then, of course, the Lashkar-e-Taiba is a mission to restore Islamic rule over India through Ghazwa-e-Hind, the Hamas mission to establish Islamic Palestinian state through the Intifada. Also, viewers, the Lashkar-e-Taiba preaches jihad as a route to prosperity. The Hamas preaches holy duty to abolish Israel. Again, a jihad to abolish Israel. And this is also mentioned in its charter. Now let us get to our big debate. We're asking a big question. As the United States compares Hamas to the Lashkar-e-Taiba, has Islamist hate been exposed once again for what it is, unprovoked and unlawful? Let's open that up. But before that, viewers, just to tell you, the debate is brought to us by Motorola.
Hello, Moto.
Viewers, let's open this up straight off. Let's ask some very direct questions. I want to first begin with Tehseen Poonawalla, who is a very balanced and fact-orientated commentator, and we're glad to have him. Mr. Poonawalla, what Blinken makes clear is that Hindu phobia perhaps is real, and this talk of a root cause like Hindutva linked to Kashmiri suppression, oppression, call it what you want to in India, is a clever concoction aimed at drawing a false equivalence to justify hate crimes by Islamists in our country. Would you agree with this proposition?
Rahul, thank you so much for having me on the show. And the onset, thank you to General Bakshi for the service he's rendered to our country. Because of people like him, we are safe. And I agree with this proposition. I think that there is some amount of Hindu phobia across the world. We're seeing that increasingly. And you, I remember, as an anchor in your previous role in a previous channel, took it up very strongly, waking the government up from slumber when this happened in England during the whole previous cricket matches between India and Pakistan. You were one of the leading voices who took it up. And Abhijit Iyer Mitra out there was exposing the government. The problem is that our government, which loves to, especially our foreign minister, who loves to be a real material, he gives fantastic one line so he goes viral in the reel, actually in real life is acts zero. Because for all that the government and its viral foreign minister speaks about, their actions on ground is zero. That is the problem. Rahul, me, you, General Bakshi, Abhijit, the MIM spokesperson can do nothing. It is for the government of India to act, which unfortunately may seem like a tiger, but acts like a kitten, especially on international forums.
What do you mean exactly by acts? That it refuses to act? What do you expect the government to be doing? To carry out sort of a bombing campaign in Jammu and Kashmir like Israel is doing, or across the border against a nuclear state?
No, I expect the government of India to have a spine, unfortunately has a spine of a molten eclair. Let me give you two precise examples. The one, the earlier one from England, when Hindu fellow citizens or Indians of Hindu origin were attacked by Islamists, not Indian Islamists, but Islamists from Turkey and Syria. When they attacked RSS, they had nothing to do with RSS. It took the government of India 4 days to get up after Abhijit was tweeting about it and you were the one who was breaking the stories. It's only after 4 days the government of India reacted. Let me take another example. A BJP spokesperson said something which I don't agree with. The government folded like a pack of cards in a thunder in front of countries like Afghanistan that lectured us on freedom of speech. I want my government to be balanced. I want my government to protect our interests. If Hindu phobia is real, which I think it is, the government must speak up against it. The government cannot have one policy domestically and another policy internationally. Where I do, however, give the government credit for is India's relations with the Middle East, particularly the Muslim countries, has been fantastic underneath this Prime Minister. But sometimes I feel that in order to achieve that, we sometimes let loose of our own people or our own larger interests. Even Canada and the Khalistan issue, it is conservative MPs attending the so-called referendum, conservative MPs quoted by the Modi government who are attending it and advocating for Khalistan. Where is the government took it on? They have took on Trudeau. Have they taken on the conservative MPs? It's happened time and again.
I don't think you can make such a distinction. I mean, if you're taking on Trudeau, you're taking on a government as well as no, I understand that, as well as of course what is obvious, and it appears like that at least to those who are conversant with the facts, that the state is a benefactor of certain Khalistani groups there. So you will obviously address the government in power. I don't see why we are drawing that distinction, because everything flows from there. If India draws a line with the existing government and that government falls in line on our reservations about the state's benefaction of Khalistan, then it suggests that there'd be continuity in foreign policy, and the Conservatives, if they ever come to power, will also sort of observe those red lines. But okay, let's just set that aside because that's not something that we're getting into here. But I want to very quickly bring in the AIMM's Adil Hassan. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, Mr. Hassan. I just want to ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla today says that Hindu phobia is real, it exists, and that Hindus today can feel equally aggrieved as Israelis, who are of course been attacked for same reasons in their country. Would you like to answer this?
Sir, my point is that don't mix two things. The Israeli issue is totally different. This Hindu phobia is totally different. Even in India, there is Islamic phobia. Every day, the Muslim community, they are the youth are suffering. Even 2 days back, you heard about our spokesperson, Baris Pathan, had told that he was shot by the police officers in Maharashtra, and no action was taken by the Thane police. So don't mix up all three things. This Israel issue is very old, 50 years old issue. And our point is that on the humanitarian approach, more than 50,000 women are pregnant and kids are there. They are not getting the hospital service. They are not getting the medical facility. They are not getting the medical aid. It is the most priority. We are supporting. We don't have any enmity with any country. But our approach is very clear. What Mahatma Gandhi stand is there. What Atal Bihari Vajpayee stand was there. What Pandit Nehru stand was there. It's very clear that we support Palestine on humanitarian approach. Why you mix Hindu, Muslim, Jewish and everything? Why don't you talk about humanitarian approach? It is clear stand that whatever it is happening in Gaza, it is unhumanitarian. They are butchering. Even the UN Secretary General categorically told that Hamas action is not the day one reaction. It is the 56-year-old reaction. Why don't the people of the media understand this? You don't have any concern for Manipur. You don't go to Manipur. You don't send any reporter to Manipur, but you are sending all the people to Israel. What is the difference? First, you have to look your own people also. Why don't you bring always with the Hindu-Muslim spectrum? My optics that come out from the Hindu-Muslim optics. Talk about humanitarian approach. Talk about humanity. Our concern is very much simple. My leader is raising this issue from day one. We are the
Adil Saab,
ISIS
Adil Saab, you know what?
दुनिया में सबसे पहले बोला उन्होंने.
Okay, Adil Saab, you know what Mr. Owaisi has actually said about this, right? You have his quotes and his bites and everything.
Yes, I was present there.
Yeah, you were present there. So you will remember that he referred to something called the root cause that you are also referring to today. So one second, sir. What root cause justifies the butchery of babies?
May I send you the video of Baptist Hospital?
Sir,
is this the justified? You are putting the siren. You are asking people to evacuate, and you are bombing
the hospital was not bombed by Israel, as we all know now.
Brother, everybody knows. Rahul bhai, you also know.
No, I don't know. The facts that have appeared.
Your Majburi.
Okay, one second, Hassan Saab. Let's not get personal. I'm only stating a fact. Whether it is, excuse me, sir, whether it is the BBC, whether it is the Western media that you follow, or Al Jazeera, they've all come out and said that that was a attack that happened. The tragedy happened because Hamas was firing missiles, and one of them malfunctioned and fell on top of the hospital. There is now proof of this. There is scientific evidence. There is what is known as, let me just finish, sir. There is now what is known as forensic evidence, military forensic evidence to prove this. So let's not try to draw false equivalence here. I understand that you might have a concern about the Israeli response, but this root cause argument is a justification, isn't it, at the end of the day? Because India is attacked in Kashmir constantly. Kashmiri Hindus are targeted point blank. And what is said, oh, there's a root cause. That's a very dangerous and slippery slope. I hope you don't agree with that. There is no root cause in Kashmir, is there, sir? Hassan bhai.
May I speak, Rahul? May I speak, Rahul bhai?
Yeah, of course.
9.5 साल से ये सरकार नरेंद्र मोदी जी की परम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की सरकार है. महबूबा मुफ्ती के साथ सरकार बनाया, मलाई खाया, सत्ता हासिल किया. मैं भारत सरकार से पूछता हूं आपके माध्यम से, कितने कश्मीरी पंडितों को इन्होंने बताया? जरा दिल पर हाथ रखकर बोलिए. आज पाकिस्तान टीम को अहमदाबाद में किसने स्वागत किया? जय शाह
कौन जैसा है, कौन है बीसीसीआई का जिम्मेदार? जो पाकिस्तान टीम जो टेरर अटैक करता है उसको आप ऐसा इस्तेमाल दे रहे हैं, ऐसी मोहब्बत दिखा रहे हैं। नवाज शरीफ की बिरयानी आप खाने चले जाते हैं, ये ऐसी क्या मोहब्बत है, जरा बतलाइए। मैं तो कभी नहीं गया नवाज शरीफ के, ना मेरे लीडर गए, लेकिन बिरयानी खाने आप जाते हैं। अजहर मसूद को आपने जाके छोड़ा कंधार में, ये दुनिया जानती है किसने कंधार में छोड़ा, ये बीजेपी सरकार ने छोड़ा। तो उस वक्त
आप सरकार की, देखिए हम यहाँ कोई वकालत नहीं कर रहे सरकार की, सर हसन भाई, कोई यहाँ सरकार की वकालत नहीं कर रहा, हम इशू की बात कर रहे हैं। ये रूट कॉज, जो रूट कॉज, this whole conversation that keeps coming back to root causes. Let me bring in Mr. Abhijit Iyer Mitra and General Bakshi also. This root cause argument, has it been stretched too far, Abhijit Iyer Mitra? And perhaps now it is being used constantly to try and legitimize or, draw a false equivalence between the Hamas and the state of Israel, like we've just heard, in fact, from Hassan Bhai.
So, Rahul, every time they don't want to address a question, they keep going back to the root cause. Have you noticed this? Kashmir, let's go to the root cause. Palestine, let's go to the root cause. Everything goes back to the root cause. What exactly is the root cause here? Is it Palestinian migration? Is it Jewish migration into what is today Israel through the 1920s? In which case, the gentleman here from the AIMM should know that his own head was supporting Rohingya migration into India during the height of what was happening in Burma. You remember, he was vehemently opposed to us sending those Rohingyas back. Then what happened was, opposed CAA NRC, and CAA NRC they opposed. Why? Because people coming from there who are oppressed, who are not Muslims, should not be given shelter in India. So you see, this root cause is twisted wherever and whenever they want it. No root cause justifies you going around raping women, slitting babies out of wombs, torturing and killing non-combatants. You want to keep on going on to root cause as if, tell me what justifies killing civilians. I want to know what root cause justifies the rape, torture, murder of 1,400 women and children and non-combatant men.
Adil bhai, could you answer that question?
Are you saying that what Israel has done justifies the torture, rape, murder of 1,400 overwhelmingly non-combatant Israelis? Simple yes or no answer, Adil.
हाँ, आप बोलिए।
राहुल भाई, बाबू बजरंगी के समर्थक, माया कोडानी के समर्थक, मणिपुर पे चुप रहने वाले लोग, पर रूट काउस पे बोल रहे हैं। 9.5 साल सरकार में रहने वाले, एक दिन भी कश्मीरी पंडित को वहां नहीं ले जाने वाले, पाकिस्तान में बिरयानी खाने वाले समर्थक, पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट टीम को इस्तेमाल करने वाले लोग आज रूट काउस पर बात कर रहे हैं। रोहिंग्या में बांग्लादेश, रोहिंग्या में आप जाते हैं, आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट वहां पर बांग्लादेश के रीजन पर है।
आप बात कर रहे हैं,
आप बताइए ना,
हसन भाई, यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द रूट कॉज।
उसकी औरतों को क्या होगा मणिपुर में जो नंगा।
अच्छा, अगर मैं आपको one minute, हसन भाई, 1 second, don't mix Manipur, because if I start talking about the, no, 1 second,
talk about Kashmir, Manipur,
please don't speak over me, sir. We are having a peaceful debate. Please, let's all keep to our turns. I'm coming to you. I'm giving you space. Now, if you want to bring in Manipur, sir, then if I start addressing the root cause of Manipur, you may not like it.
No, I will like everything.
No, you won't like it.
I was not in the power in Manipur.
1 second, sir, 1 second. Hassan Saab, 1 second. Neither are you in power anywhere apart from a few pockets of Bihar and Hyderabad.
We are happy.
You be happy there, but all I'm saying is that this root cause argument, you're constantly drawing a false equivalence. You're not addressing it. I'm only asking you, आप किस हद तक ये root cause argument इसको आप push करेंगे? रूट कॉज का ये मतलब नहीं हुआ कि people will come and rape women, burn children, commit atrocities against innocents. If you have a fight against the state of Israel, fight the state of Israel, not the innocents in Israel. So, Adil Hassan, first of all, do you condemn the Hamas for what it did? Do you condemn the Palestinians who are standing by and supporting and voting for Hamas? Very simple question.
My very simple answer is that we condemn any act of terror from any organization.
Which organization? Do you
any
condemn?
organization of the world.
So
Any
say
organization
that
of the
Hamas
world.
is a terror
Or
organization.
One second.
Say Hamas
Rahul
is
bhai.
Adil Hassan. 1 second. Say that Hamas is a terror organization unequivocally, because there are many in India who call it a resistance movement. You call it a resistance movement or a terror organization? Please tell our viewers this.
I very humbly I will ask Rahul bhai, please convey my message to Honorable Prime Minister and CMO.
One second. Hassan
let
Saab,
me speak.
do you
Let me
believe
speak.
that Hamas is a terror organization or a resistance movement? Just say yes. What is it?
I will echo your voice when you will ask my Prime Minister to declare Hamas as a terror organization. Please ask PMO to declare Hamas as a terror organization.
He's already said
I will follow
that.
the government of India.
Hassan Saab,
from the PMO.
1 second. He has already.
Simple letter
Okay,
from the
Hassan
Minister of
Saab.
PMO.
Hassan Saab, the Prime Minister has
Yes,
already described the attack as a terror attack. Obviously, the person who carries out terror is a terror organization. But I'm asking you, since you are a representative of the AIMIM, can you elaborate? We'll ask the Prime Minister when we get an interview with him, hopefully. But I want to ask you a straightforward question. You as a spokesperson of the AIMIM, would you describe the Hamas as a terror organization, sir? Or would you describe it as a resistance movement? Can you make your stand clear?
Our stand is very clear that if more than 1 lakh people died in Palestine, it was the act of terror started by Israel. Israel is dictating its term.
Okay.
It's clear.
Okay.
And ask
So viewers,
to declare Hamas as a terror organization.
Israel is a terror organization. They are not taking 1 second. Okay. As a party, they made their stand very clear. They have a stand on Israel. They say that Israel supports acts of terror.
Yes.
But they do not want to elucidate on their stand on Hamas. It's very clear. Viewers, there is a spokesperson. 1 second. Why can't you take the bull by the horns? You declare. No, 1 second. Let me tell you. 1 second, Hassan Saab. Okay, just 1 second, sir. Please don't speak over everybody. Just 1 second. I just want to also draw another very quick contradiction in what the AIMM believes. It says that Hindu organizations, some of who he named, are terror organizations. They have no problems. They have no problems in saying this. They said it right now. Gujarat में जो terror फैलाए, उसका क्या? आपने खुद ही बोला था. Rewind कर देंगे tape sir आपके लिए.
माया कोडानी.
Yes. You called her. Yes, you said that. Yes.
सपोर्ट करने वाले.
Yes. यही देखिए. So
अधर मत को कंधार में छोड़ने वाले.
ठीक है. So Hassan साहब, आपके लिए ये सब लोग आतंकवादी हैं, हेट फिगर्स हैं. हमास आपके लिए, हमास पे, अच्छा मेरी बात तो सुनिए आप अगर बोलते रहेंगे तो फिर फायदा क्या है. मैं आपको बोलूंगा, यू हैव टेकन अ पोजीशन. मोदी हैज नेवर डिस्क्राइब्ड कोदनानी और एनीबडी as hate figures or anybody like that. You didn't wait for him to do it, but you unilaterally. Let me finish, sir. Adil bhai, has the BJP called her a terrorist? No, she's not a terrorist. But you call her a terrorist. Adil Saab, 1 minute. Let me ask 1 second. There is a fundamental contradiction here. Just don't speak over me, sir. Let me just inform the viewer of the contradiction.
Okay.
He says, we will denote the Hamas anything that the Prime Minister denotes. If the Prime Minister calls Hamas a terror organization, we will call Hamas a terror organization. In the same breath, while the Prime Minister has never called any of the individuals that he has mentioned as terrorists, they, viewers, are the first ones to say, what do you think is Maya Kodnani? What do you think is Sadhvi Pragya, etc. So there again, viewers, different yardstick. So I think Abhijit Iyer Mitra, 1 second. Abhijit, okay, 1 second. Abhijit, okay. So 1 second. General Bakshi.
Can I also come in?
Yes, of course, General Bakshi. Make your point, sir.
You know, Rahul, what we are witnessing is the Hamas, a terrorist organization, hijacking the Arab street, trying to hijack the opinion of the Arab street. Here is the tail wagging the dog, and because they are, posing a threat to the established governments in the Middle Eastern states, we find a whole lot of non-state actors trying to jump into the fray along with state actors. The next level of escalation will come from Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and we find the Turkish President Erdogan now trying to jump in on the side of the Hamas and call it a freedom organization, some organization leading a freedom struggle, and reviving for us that song and dance of one man terrorist being another man's freedom fighter. The Iranians are trying to intervene, and what you are seeing is a struggle for a new caliphate. Who will head the caliphate? Turkey, Saudi Arabia, or Iran through its proxies? That is the struggle that you must see being framed in the Middle East. And we have our own political spin-offs. There are those who would like to appeal to the Muslim population of India and try and psych them up against Israel, try and psych them up and try and gain in the political contestation which is now occurring, which is about to occur in 2024 and in the state elections. You see, that is the real problem. Apropos the issue of state cause or the root cause, let me be very blunt and straightforward. The UN Security Council resolution number 1967 unequivocally said no cause, but no cause in the world justifies the use of the tactic of terror. You see, the Hamas cannot kill, rape, murder, mistreat women, drag them by their hair, kill children brutally, kill 85-year-old people, helpless people, and then, say that they are fully justified because of the root cause. No cause in the world justifies terror, and that is what India has been the victim of for the last 30 years plus. We've also lost 80,000 citizens.
But
Rahul,
but General Bakshi,
80,000 Indians
even in India, there are a large number of people who refer to the root cause. We know that there are certain leading international award-winning authors who stand and say that there is a root cause. So that's why Indians are bled in Kashmir, the Indian state is bled in Kashmir, because there's a root cause. You're an occupier. This is what they say. General Bakshi, I'm stunned because, Owaisi called Netanyahu a shaitan, the devil. And I want to bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra once again. But on Hamas, there is no appellation, no name, nothing. It's not as if the Prime Minister is called Netanyahu a devil. That didn't stop. That didn't stop Owaisi from adding his little, epithet to describe Netanyahu. But if you ask them about Hamas, there is a problem. Where is this coming from, Abhijit Iyer Mehta? Let's try to understand this.
There is a belief in the Arab world. See, Indian Muslims think they are, these Ashraf Arabs who are descendants of the Prophet, etc., etc. Now, you know, and I know, and any DNA test will tell you that most of the Muslims in India are local people who have converted and intermixed with some Turkic blood in them. Okay, there is this desperate need for validation, especially since the Ibn Taymiyyah interpretation of jurisprudence has gained traction in the Khalij region, which considers all non-Arab interpretations of the Quran and the Hadith to be inferior because they have not grown up or lived in an Arabic-speaking environment.
Okay. Coming to you.
All these external types, they have this desperate need for validation. So, in the Arab world, this is viewed because if you look at the Palestinian flag itself.
But Iyer Mitra, I remember even Mahatma Gandhi at one time supported the Khilafat movement. Surely he wasn't looking for validation. He was not Muslim.
Of course he was. He was looking for Muslim support in countering the British Empire at that point of time in India. He knew he couldn't pull it off just with Hindu support. He needed broad-based support. So he needed support. Of course it was validation. What else did you think it was? Okay. It was a cold, calculating move for support.
Okay, let me bring in Tehseen Poonawala. There is a fundamental reason why in India a number of people are not unequivocally calling the Hamas out as a terror group. Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla, it's linked to, as Abhijit Iyer Mitra says, the desire for validation from the larger brotherhood, number one, and perhaps there is also a political reason for it. Would you agree? You've been unequivocal. I'm sure you regard the Hamas as a terror organization.
I do. I do regard it as a terror organization. And what I'm going to say may be slightly controversial, so it's my responsibility. Indian Muslims, most of them, except for these silly political leaders, which in my opinion helped the BJP polarize, including the MIM, think of Hamas as a terrorist organization and are all right with Israel as a friend of India. Yes, we stand for the Palestine cause, not as Muslims, but as Indians, because that is the stand of India. And India continues that stand under our current Prime Minister. But Indian Muslims, personally, have no personal enmity with Israel. Israel has been a friend of India. That's point number one. I have a larger problem with the Indian government, which I said has a spine of a molten eclair. And let me tell you why. The problem is let me take this domestically, this root cause effect, and I go back to that BJP spokesperson where chance of Sir Tanse Juda was made on her name, and she said something that was, it shouldn't have been said on a TV channel. How can that root cause be agreed to cutting her head off? But did this present government make Sir Tanse Juda a terrorist slogan? It did not do it. Let me ask you another question, slightly controversial. For example, the word Harijan is not allowed to be said anymore, and rightly so. It offends people. Or if you insult somebody on caste, that comes under the SC/ST Act, rightly so. Why is the word, for example, if you say somebody is a kafir, not put under a criminal act? It's used to justify hate, and several such words, even from the other side, say, Desh ke gaddaron ko goli maro. Why are you not doing it? Because this polarization benefits locally two political parties. It benefits the right wing, but it benefits parties like the MIM. Now, Oasis videos went very viral, shouting Palestine, Palestine, Palestine. Arey sir, if you're so interested, what did MIM do to contribute to the sufferings of the Palestine people? Forget Hamas. What did he do? How much material did he send? How much relief material?
आदिल हसन रिस्पॉन्ड। आदिल हसन रिस्पॉन्ड।
राहुल,
आपने करा क्या है?
हमने जो किया है वो जो सिस्टम है उसी से करता है। ये तहसीन पुनावाला,
आप बताइए आपने करा क्या है?
हमने जो किया, सुनिए, डेमोक्रेसी में आवाज बुलंद करना,
नहीं वो छोड़िए, आपने एक्शन क्या लिए हैं? बोलना तो सब बोलते हैं, डेमोक्रेसी बड़ी खुली है,
असल बात सुना जाए,
आपने एक्शन क्या लिया है?
मोटरोला से मुझे चंदा नहीं मिल रहा है, ना अदानी अंबानी से मुझे चंदा मिल रहा है। अगर इन तीनों से मिलता तो मैं जाके जरूर फिलिस्तीन के लिए कुछ मदद देता और भारत सरकार को बोलता कि कुछ दे देने। आप मोटरोला से और अदानी अंबानी से कुछ दिलवा दीजिए तो
ओह माय गॉड,
या वाड्रा साहब की कोई जमीन हरियाणा में,
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि आप
दिलवा।
ओके, तहसीन पुनावाला, वुड यू लाइक टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू दिस? मिस्टर हसन, जस्ट कमिंग, जनरल साहब, जस्ट कमिंग, वन क्विक पॉइंट, वन मिनट,
one more thing, I will just let me speak. अभी आपके जो अभिजीत पैनलिस्ट ने कहा, उनको जो इस्लाम के बारे में, उनसे मुझे ना सीखना है। हम इब्राहिम और इस्लाम की औलाद हैं, हम आदम की औलाद है, उनसे नहीं सीखना है, ना शरीयत सीखना है, ना कुरान सीखना है। उनको बोलिए कि मणिपुर पे रिसर्च कर ले, अच्छा रहेगा।
ठीक है, ओके, आप मणिपुर, ठीक है। आपको एक मिनट, हसन साहब, वन सेकंड, क्विक रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम तहसीन पूनावाला ऑन दिस बिजनेस ऑफ, you asked the question, what have you actually done for Palestinians? He says we don't have the means to do anything for Palestinians. Are you satisfied with that response?
Rahul, your show will go down as a historical show, because on this show I've just exposed these hypocrites shouting Palestine, Palestine. I feel for the kids. एक सेकंड सर, मैंने आपके बीच में नहीं बोला सर, मैंने आपके बीच में एक भी बार नहीं बोला। आदिल भाई, प्लीज गिव मी द सेम रिस्पेक्ट आई गिव यू, डोंट टॉक इन बिटवीन। साहब, पैलेस्टाइन पैलेस्टाइन चिल्लाने से कुछ नहीं, मुझे भी उन बच्चों के लिए बुरा लग रहा है। कंट्रीब्यूट समथिंग, द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया कंट्रीब्यूटेड। आप पैलेस्टाइन एम्बेसी में जाके कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं, आप भारत सरकार के साथ संपर्क करते हैं, आप कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं। यू आर जस्ट पोलराइजिंग, होपिंग टू गेन पॉलिटिकली सर, एंड दैट्स रॉन्ग।
Okay, one second, let me bring in General Bakshi. Let me bring in General Bakshi. You were raising your hand. Yes, General Bakshi, before I go to the big breaking news. Yes, General Bakshi.
You know, Rahul, I'd like to say Hamas is not Palestine. Let's get that right. आदिल साहब को समझना पड़ेगा कि हमास फिलिस्तीन नहीं है, ये दो अलग चीजें हैं। ठीक है, जहां तक फिलिस्तीन का सवाल है, हमारी सरकार ने C-17 जहाज भर के आपको मेडिकल एड भेजी है, बच्चों के लिए खाना भेजा है, ठीक है। पैलेस्टीन की हम मदद कर रहे हैं, हम हमास की मदद नहीं कर सकते। हमको हमास को कंडेम करना ही होगा, क्योंकि हमास रिस्पॉन्सिबल है वो फिलिस्तीन के लोगों की मुसीबत, जो मुसीबत उनको हुई है, उसके लिए सीधी जिम्मेवारी हमास की है।
Viewers, very quickly, I just want to draw attention to a bit of big breaking news. On the bottom of your screens, and we're going to flash it on the channel now, top government sources have revealed to CNN News 18 that the Ram Mandir inauguration invitation has been accepted by Prime Minister Modi. Ahead of Ram Mandir inauguration, the team that belongs to the temple trust has called on the Prime Minister, handed him the invite for the temple inauguration on January 22nd. So January 22nd, 2024, in about 3 months from now, the Ram Mandir will be inaugurated. The Prime Minister will be there to consecrate this resurrection of Hindu faith. And I want to go across to Payal for more on this. Payal, this is an important development. Of course, it play out very importantly in the state of Uttar Pradesh, but has national resonance, and also is the consecration of a resurrection of Hinduness.
Rahul, just a few weeks ago, when the Prime Minister had actually spoken to the BJP MPs, from his part of the state, he had told them one thing very important, that this is part of our commitment, but this is not going to get us vote, essentially. So this needs to be looked into from a bigger perspective, not just from a vote bank perspective, is what the Prime Minister has told the party MPs. Having said that, yes, the date is now official, 22nd of January, which is of course at 12:30 p.m. when the Prime Minister will be inaugurating the Ram Temple, the much awaited Ram Temple construction, which has been going on in full swing. And today 4 members of the trust met the Prime Minister, extended an invitation, and the Prime Minister has accepted that invitation as well. So it's a very, very crucial development coming just about a couple of months before the 2024 elections, the big test for the Modi government, which is looking at getting a government for the third time. But yes, the Prime Minister and the government has been saying that this has to looked at from the point of view of being an issue of Asta and not through vote bank politics. Not vote bank politics, but Payal Mehta, there are a large number of people in this country who have criticized the Prime Minister from either praying there. Remember when the foundation ceremony was taking place, there was a lot of criticism the Prime Minister faced for trying to appropriate this cause for political signaling purposes. What does the BJP have to say to those individuals who accuse him of grandstanding on religion? Well, this is the लोगों की आस्था का, विश्वास का बात. That's what exactly what the BJP has been saying. That's what Prime Minister Modi himself has been saying. And the fact that the BJP wears Hindutva on its sleeve is no secret, Rahul. You've seen them talk about this. This has been part of their manifesto. This has been part of their commitment to the country as well. But like I said, that the Prime Minister told them very, very clearly that this is not an issue which is going to get you votes. It is, of course, an Astha or Vishwas ki baat which we've been able to do, and that is the Astha and Vishwas of crores and crores of people of this country who essentially might not be associated with the BJP or a particular party. But yes, Bhagwan Ram will get his legitimate, home, is what people are saying. So that's what is making a lot of people happy about it.
Now, Payal Mehta, I had read somewhere in the past, and statements were issued by certain leaders of the BJP that they will be mobilizing like they did in the past, of course, for a very different cause, which was at that time to state their claim over the Ram Janam Bhoomi. But in this case, mobilizing people in mandals to come and pay respects when this temple is inaugurated, which would lead to some sort of a mobilization of a mass of people. Is this true? Is this confirmed now?
Rahul, normally when the Prime Minister goes anywhere, you don't need to mobilize people. People turn up in huge numbers. Having said that, like I said, that this is a cause which they've often spoken about being the Astha or the Vishwas that they speak about. Obviously, people will come, and there have been people who've been making donations from far and wide, right from probably a denomination of 10 rupees onwards as well. So that's the kind of an public partnership of sorts is what the BJP has spoken about. This is a dream of thousands and thousands and crores of people who actually, some of them have laid down their lives fighting for this cause, and of course, the late Ashok Singhal being one of them.
Okay, thank you, Payal Mehta, for that. We're also getting a reaction from one of the individuals who heads the trust. Viewers, listen in.
भूमि तीर्थ क्षेत्र इसके ट्रस्टी पेजावर मठ के पूज्य स्वामी विश्व प्रसन्न तीर्थ जी महाराज जगतगुरु मध्वाचार्य, ट्रस्ट के कोषाध्यक्ष पूना निवासी पूज्य स्वामी गोविंद देव गिरी जी महाराज, राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर निर्माण समिति के अध्यक्ष श्रीमान नृपेंद्र मिश्रा जी के साथ मैं स्वयं महामंत्री चंपत राय आज माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से मिलने गए थे। हमने उन्हें अयोध्या 22 जनवरी 2024 को पधार कर नए बन रहे मंदिर के गर्भगृह में भगवान राम के नूतन विग्रह की प्राण प्रतिष्ठा अपने करकमलों से करने का निवेदन किया। प्रसन्नता की बात है, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हमारा निवेदन स्वीकार किया।
That's confirmation that the Prime Minister has accepted the invitation. So January 22nd is going to be the big day, viewers. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to focus on what the UN Secretary General has said, Mr. Guterres. He's come out and said that the October 7 attacks did not take place in a vacuum. That has invited condemnation from Israel and calls for him to resign. We come back to that story.
Hello, Moto.
I'm getting so much.
इजराइल हर तरफ से विवादित बॉर्डर से घिरा हुआ है और इस वक्त हम लोग एक ऐसे बॉर्डर पे हैं जहां इस वक्त झड़प चल रही है और कभी भी बड़े युद्ध की शक्ल ले सकती है। ये देखिए, गैलीली मेडिकल सेंटर है, नहारिया शहर में है। नहारिया शहर में ये बड़ा मेडिकल अस्पताल है और उसके इमरजेंसी डिपार्टमेंट में है। यहां लाने का मकसद ये है कि ये सबसे बड़ा अस्पताल है जो इजराइल के किसी भी बॉर्डर से, कई दुश्मन देश हैं इजराइल के, कई देशों से इजराइल की लड़ाई है हर बॉर्डर पे, लेकिन ये सबसे करीब का अस्पताल है। 10 किलोमीटर से कम के अंदर में ये अस्पताल है। यहाँ से लेबनान बॉर्डर दिखता है और ये इमरजेंसी वार्ड, आपको बता दे, ये इमरजेंसी वार्ड है और ये जो इलाका इमरजेंसी वार्ड में अगर बॉम्बिंग भी हो, मिसाइल भी दागे जाए तो यहाँ का जो कामकाज है वो ठप नहीं होगा। ये जो देखिए, बहुत मजबूती से इन दीवारों को खास तरीके से बनाया गया और इसका मकसद ये है, ये बुलेट प्रूफ कांच है, ये बुलेट प्रूफ कांच है। ये दिखा दे, यहाँ बॉम्ब स्प्लिंटर जो रॉकेट से निकलते उनका असर नहीं होगा। किस तरह से ये बनाए गए हैं आपको अंदाजा लग सकता है। और इसी तरह से हॉस्पिटल को तैयार किया गया। 2006 में जब इजराइल और लेबनान की वॉर छिड़ी थी तब भी इस हॉस्पिटल की मजबूती इतनी थी कि यहाँ कोई असर नहीं हुआ था, जबकि एक जो हमला किया गया था हिजबुल्लाह की तरफ से वो यहाँ तक पहुँचा था अस्पताल के ऊपरी माले पे। लेकिन ये इमरजेंसी वार्ड है। युद्ध अगर बहुत आगे भी बढ़ा तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी। ये देख सकते, बहुत मजबूती से इन जगहों को बनाया गया है। ये पूरा जो इमरजेंसी वार्ड है, यहाँ बॉम्ब रॉकेट का असर नहीं होगा। आप देख सकते हैं इसकी मजबूती, गेट, ये स्टील, ये देखिए इसकी मजबूती। जिस तरह से शेल्टर होते हैं दक्षिणी इजराइल में, उस तरह के शेल्टर की तरह ये पूरा अस्पताल है। बॉम्बिंग होते रहे, कोई असर नहीं होने वाला। हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए मौजूद हैं अस्पताल के। व्हाट्स योर नेम मैम एंड व्हाट्स योर पोजीशन?
Sharon Mann from the International Affairs Department at Galilee Medical Center.
Tell me about something about this hospital. What is the characteristics? It is the closest hospital near the border.
Yes, this is the closest hospital to any border of Israel. It's we're 6 miles from the Lebanese border, the northern border, and we serve a very diverse community of
More than 6 lakhs.
yeah, we serve a community of about 660,000 people.
What is here you told me that even bomb can't destruct the structure.
Our emergency department is fortified and protected.
This is very protected.
Yes, so it can be completely closed.
This is like a shelter.
It is exactly a shelter. It is exactly a shelter. So the idea is to provide a structure that we can.
Viewers, the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, has slammed Israel, saying that the attack on it did not take place in a vacuum. This is what he said. Listen in.
The UN Special Coordinator and I are engaging with leaders in the region to express our concern, our outrage, and to advance efforts to avoid any spillover to the wider Middle East. Even in these worst of times, and perhaps especially in the most trying moments, it is vital to look to the long-term horizon and avoid irreversible action that would embolden extremists and doom any prospects for lasting peace. This most recent violence does not come in a vacuum. The reality is that it grows out of a long-standing conflict with a 56-year-long occupation and no political end in sight.
Well, viewers, the root cause argument being put out there by Antonio Guterres, is he virtue signaling? That's the fundamental question we're asking, and we are joined by Sharon Haskell, Israeli Member of Parliament, this evening. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on the Hard Facts. Why is Israel calling for the resignation of the United Nations Secretary General, Ms. Haskell? What's the problem here with his statement specifically?
So I'm putting aside a lot of the facts that were completely incorrect. The United Nations body was created in order to make sure that massacre, genocide, something as horrible as the Holocaust in the Second World War will never happen again. I mean, the acts of the 7th of October, that was a crime against humanity. That was mass raping of young girls, murdering 40 babies, beheading infants and babies, torturing corpses and people in a manner that, it's very, very hard to find. I mean, this is the worst event that ever happened in Israel's history. And we have to go back to the Holocaust to maybe find an event that might be similar to something like that. Now, you cannot justify a genocide, you cannot justify a massacre in any kind of way. I mean, think if the head of the United Nations, after the attack in Mumbai, would come and say, well, it didn't happen in a vacuum. There's a long ongoing war between India and Pakistan, and both of the sides need to do such and such and such. I mean, can anyone justify the murder of any innocent civilians?
So why is he doing
this
it?
This is the last thing that... Sorry?
Why is he doing it? Why do you think he's doing it? Why is he, sort of, if you're accusing him of playing to the galleries, why is he playing to the galleries?
And unfortunately, for a very long time, the United Nations has lost its moral compass. And we've seen, countries who are chairing in the Human Rights Committee that are still have slavery in their own countries, that don't have rights for women, who that are heading the Women's Council. I mean, does that make any sense that the representative in that council, no matter if it's the Human Rights Council or the Women's Council, come from a country that doesn't respect those values? And so, we've been hit by this double standard and the lack of moral compass in the United Nations time after time.
But unfortunately, that is some of a record that we've witnessed.
Okay.
You see the leaders of the free world, of democracies, of people who believe in those values that me and you believe in.
Right.
Freedom, democracy, liberty, freedom of religion, equal rights, women's rights. You know, and to have a body like that might justify massacre.
Well, of course, the United Nations has sometimes also been very uncharitable to the Indian view. As we all know, viewers, there has been very little reciprocation on the acts of terror that are committed against India in the United Nations. We've seen that sort of virtue signaling, call it what you want to, playing to the galleries, equivocation, all of that. Thank you, Ms. Haskell, for speaking to me here on the hard facts. We leave it at that. The Right Stand coming up with Anand Narasimhan. Stay with us, don't go away.
Hopefully all the time in times of peace, but...
And the time of war, because your country is in the time of war.
Yes, but also in the time of war. We want
Can you tell me something about the structure? कुछ बता सकती हैं? Can you tell?
It's built, you can see the very thick walls, it could be completely
बहुत मोटी दीवारें हैं, देखिएगा. और कुछ है?
It's fortified, it's protected, it's essentially a bomb shelter.
From top also?
It's a bomb shelter essentially, and
ये बॉम्ब शेल्टर है, इमरजेंसी वार्ड है, लेकिन बॉम्ब शेल्टर की तरह भी इसका इस्तेमाल होता है. यहाँ अगर बॉम्बिंग भी हो, जिस तरह के रॉकेट हमास छोड़ता है दक्षिणी इलाके में या हिजबुल्ला छोड़ता है उत्तरी इलाके में, लेबनान इजराइल की बॉर्डर पे हैं, यहाँ कुछ भी हमला होता है तो असर नहीं होगा. यहाँ ये these glasses are bomb.
Well, you can see that's outside the door, but the ceiling that is over the area where the ambulances
please show me.
Is also built to a higher fortified dimension.
देखिए ये भी fortified है.
It provides protection.
ये भी जब एम्बुलेंस से मरीजों को लाया जाता है तो ये भी फोर्टिफाइड है, यानी इतना मजबूत है कि बॉम्ब और रॉकेट का असर नहीं होगा. इस तरीके से बनाया गया तो यहाँ भी लोग छुपेंगे. और ये ग्लासेस जो हैं ये बुलेट प्रूफ हैं, स्प्लिंटर प्रूफ हैं. हम आपको
incoming patients and healthcare workers are provided protection as they.
सबको प्रोटेक्शन मिलेगा, जो चाहे इंजर्ड हो, जो सोल्जर आए, जो आम नागरिक आए या आम लोग हो, यहाँ के स्टाफ हो. अगर यहाँ वो हैं तो जो इलाज की पूरी कार्रवाई होती है उस पर कोई असर नहीं होगा. और हम सबसे इजराइल और किसी देश के बॉर्डर के बीच में, इजराइल और बाकी देशों के बीच जो बॉर्डर है उसके सबसे नजदीक के अस्पताल में है. और कह सकते हैं कि जो दूसरा वॉर फ्रंट है यानी लेबनान इजराइल बॉर्डर का, उसके सबसे नजदीक के अस्पताल में भी हैं और वैसी जगह पे हैं जो कि बॉम्ब और रॉकेट से सुरक्षित है. यहाँ रॉकेट और मिसाइल का असर नहीं हो सकता. इजराइल हर तरफ से विवादित बॉर्डर से घिरा हुआ है और इस वक्त हम लोग एक ऐसे बॉर्डर पे हैं जहां इस वक्त झड़प चल रही है और कभी भी बड़े युद्ध की शक्ल ले सकती है. ये देखिए गैलीली मेडिकल सेंटर है, नहारिया शहर में है. नहारिया शहर में ये बड़ा मेडिकल अस्पताल है और उसके इमरजेंसी डिपार्टमेंट में है. यहां लाने का मकसद ये है कि ये सबसे बड़ा अस्पताल है जो इजराइल
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. The temple for Ramlala will be inaugurated on the 22nd of January. The Muhurat has been fixed at 12:30 p.m. Earlier in the day, 4 members of the Ram Temple Trust actually went and met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and extended an invitation to him for him to be present at the inauguration of the temple and also at the time of Pran Pratishtha of Ramlala, and PM has personally accepted the invite and confirmed his